When reading for and developing this Pecha, I tried to keep in mind several questions, such as, what does being an Electracy learner mean for me? What will these learners want to know, need to know, and how will they come to know it? And how will Electracy affect the tools that we currently have? And what I saw it coming down to was the idea of making play a valid education tool. It seems simple enough, but yet the literacy-focused world that we live in pushes back against this idea. Even though it was often through playing that each of us learned about our world, play often gets pigeonholed into the idea that playing is just for children. And if adults participate in play as well, well then it's simply for fun and should not be constituted as part of our world of education. But in our new electric world, it will be through play that we invent, learn, and interact with others. In some spheres, though, the idea of play as an education tool is already being embraced. Everyone knows that children like to play, and finally this idea is being used to help them learn. Though this mostly seems to occur in the home and for very young children, there are now games, TV shows, and even small tablets made for kids that intertwines playing and learning, like the Leapfrog system. But it's not just the idea of playing as an education tool that kids today are being pulled into the electric world. Through Leapfrog, kids can now download apps and get connected on the internet at Electracy's institution with Leapfrog Connect. Though it may appear to be mostly for parents, I think it is already incorporating kids in our electric world. And it doesn't stop there. When I looked deeper into the Leapfrog site, more electric concepts became apparent. The first thing I noticed was that on the Leapfrog 2 pad, the children have an image of themselves at the top of the screen. And while this is their face and not a created avatar, it shows that younger generations will think of themselves as a look. But that's not even all. Kids can have personalized toys that talk to them, know specific things about them, and this seems to be breaking down the walls of what is known and making the idea of fantasy more possible and more relevant. Lastly, children are rewarded for their learning. They are already becoming accustomed to experiencing pleasure as part of their learning. Whether or not it's true doesn't seem to appeal to kids. It's if they've had a good time playing it, and if they do, then they will keep on playing with it. The Leapfrog system is but one example I found, and one that jumped in my head when I thought about how electric learners learn and how Electracy isn't just being taught to younger generations, but it is the way they are taught. But we all learn through playing. Playing and learning doesn't stop when we are kids, and it should be transferred to our adult world. Being curious, I searched for the idea of learning through playing and received a whole entry in a Wikipedia article. This list here shows 5 elements the article identifies as a child's way of learning through playing. But if you take out the qualifying statements, I don't think there is anything here that is intrinsic to childhood. These elements can and should be applied as we get older and continue to learn. The games themselves might need to evolve with us and engage our mind in more complex and deeper ways, but the ideas this entry identifies are critical for an electric learner of any age. There are a few ways that learning through playing is engaging the adult world in an educational way, but these seem to be few and far between. I'm sure you've all seen the commercials for the Lumosity site that talks about brain training and brain gaming. If you go to their site, and they do throw around some heavy words like neuroscience and neuroplasticity and the Human Cognition Project, and they have several resources to academic articles and findings that are being done on their techniques. But their techniques are fairly simple and come back to the idea of playing and how this may be adapted to people over the age of 10. Basically, Lumosity finds ways to challenge and engage your brain through the use of games, through playing. Because of its ties and grounding in the literate world, Lumosity shows that its research techniques and findings are based in science, but it all comes back to playing. So what are some of the features of Electracy learning? Playing and games need to be factored into the way we learn, obviously. The days where a teacher just presents the facts are coming to an end. We live in a world where we like to touch things, interact with things and ideas, and the tools that we need to do this are being developed. Tablets are a start. Many of us now are carrying around iPads that are a perfect tool for engaging students in the realm of learning. These devices already give us entertainment and the internet, so why not our education as well? But it's more than just simply reading the text on the screen. What if you could interact with it, change it, and choose it? Moving our education to a site like the tablet would not be a big jump. We are already being groomed to learn how to use these devices from a young age. I assume many of you have seen the video of a kid trying to use a magazine like an iPad. So whether or not people want to admit it, we are moving to a world founded around the internet. And like we discussed last week, there will be turmoil with this change. On that same video, there were several angry comments, some like this one, about the evils of the change that is occurring. Of course, literacy will always be a part of our world, but the internet and a change is coming. So what does Electracy mean for me? I started off saying that learning needed to use play and games in order to engage the students. But it's more than that, and our tools are a good start, but they need to evolve even more. It's no longer about text on a screen, but images and looks and interacting with these things. Students see themselves as an image, a look. Leapfrog is already realizing this. Some video games allow the player to create their own look. Social media uses the profile picture. So one big thing for Electracy will be to include these images and look into their education as well.